What's good, YouTube? Gunner here, and welcome to the channel. So before we get started, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that way you know when I drop a new video. Also, make sure you guys join the Patreon. Make sure you guys also join the Discord and join the Twitter. Alright, so here I've got a build of Skystriker budget. Okay, this is on my free-to-play account, so I spend $0 on this account, and you can actually be able to have some sort of success throughout playing ranked. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, here we got 3 copies of Skystriker Ace Ray. It's a rare, so it's really easy to get. Now, this card's actually really good. What it does is it has a quick effect where you can tribute the card, special summon a Skystriker Ace monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. While this card's in the graveyard, if a face-up Skystriker Ace Link monster you control is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card. You can only use each effect once per turn. So it's really good because you're able to summon it. You in the battle phase, you can attack, and then quick effect, go into a Link monster, attack again. It's in the graveyard. And then on your opposite turn, if your opponent destroys your Link monster, you're able to bring back Ray, which is actually really powerful. Then I got 3 copies of Skystriker Ace Rose. Now this says, if a Skystriker Ace monster is normal or special summoned, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from the hand. So very, very good. Now, if an opponent's monster in the extra monster zone is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of your card effect, while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Then you can negate the effects of one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn, and then each effect can only be used once per turn. So very, very good card. And then here I have 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. Make sure you guys pick these up. If you can only get 1, that's perfectly fine. If you can get your hands on 3, make sure you do so. Very, very powerful card. Pretty much stops anything. Any card that goes from the deck to the hand, special summons from the deck, or sends a card from the deck to the graveyard. Ash, very powerful. Alright, so here we got 1 copy of Raigeki. It's free, very powerful. Make sure you guys pick it up through playing the solo modes. It's an automatic destruction to your opponent's field, very, very powerful. Monster Reborn, again, a free card. It reborns any monster in the graveyard. And then here we got 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. It's a free card again, and this adds a 1 level 4 or lower warrior monster from your deck to your hand. So essentially you're either going to search Ray or you're going to search Rose. Then here we got 3 copies of Pot of Desires. Now, Desire is a very good card. It's an SR, so it's pretty easy to be able to craft or pull. Now, banish 10 cards from the top of your deck face down. You draw 2 cards. Very, very good card. Now, one of the most powerful cards within the deck is Skystriker Mobilize Engage. Very, very powerful card. Reason why I set at 2. Now, this says if you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you can add a Skystriker card from your deck to your hand, except Engage itself. Then, if you have 3 or more spells within your graveyard, you can draw a card. So, a lot of the time, you want to be able to utilize this card when you have 3 spells in the grave. So that way you're able to, 1, search any Skystriker card you want, and also be able to draw a card. Very powerful, very, very useful. Now, here, this is up to you. If you want to play more Skystriker Afterburners, you can. I'm playing 2, you can play 3, or you can play 1, or you can play none. Whatever the case may be, it's a cheap, rare. Now, what this card does is, if you control no monsters in your main monster zone, target 1 face-up monster on the field, destroy it. Then if you have 3 or more spells in the grave, you can destroy 1 spell or trap on the field. So very good way to out a monster, and then also out potential problems within their back row. So very good. Then I play 1 copy of Skystriker Maneuver Jamming Waves. Now, I'm only playing 1 copy. You can play 2 or 3 if you want. I'm just playing 1 because I like it. Now, it says if you control no monsters in your main monster zone, target 1 set spell or trap on the field, destroy it. And then, if you have 3 or more, you can destroy 1 monster on the field. So very, very good. Again, another way to out problematic monsters or problematic spells or traps. Alright, so now we got 1 copy of Lightning Storm. I've only got 1. I might craft more, but for right now, I'm only using 1. Now, If you control no face-up cards, activate one of these effects, destroy all attack position monsters, or destroy all spawn traps your opponent controls. Very, very good card. Alright, then we're running one copy of Skystriker Mech Armory Hercules Base. We're going to skip the whole first effect because it doesn't really matter. Sometimes it comes up, majority of the time it does not. So second effect, it says right here, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard by a card effect, so your own card effect, you can target up to 3 Skystriker cards in your graveyard, and then you can shuffle all of them back into the deck. So it's a very good way to be able to recur monsters back to the deck, or spells or traps back into the deck. So it's very, very good to be able to, again, recycle your cards. Here we got 2 copies of Skystriker Airspace Area 0. Now this card says you can target one other card you control, excavate top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add an excavated Skystriker card to the hand. Also shuffle the rest into the deck, then if you excavated a Skystriker card, send that target to the graveyard. And then its other effect is if this card in the field zone is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon one Skystriker Ace monster from the deck. So it's a very good way to be able to search your cards and also be able to special summon your Skystriker Ray or your Skystriker Rose from the deck directly. Alright, so here I'm running 2 copies of Skystriker Mecha Modules Multi-Roll. This is a continuous spell. So what it does is, once per turn, you can target one other card you control, send that card to the graveyard. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to your spell card activations for the rest of the turn. So it's a very good way to make sure you are immune, so that way you can freely play your spell cards. Now, it says once per turn during the end phase, you can set Skystriker spells with different names from your graveyard up to the number of Skystriker spells you activated this turn while this was face up on the field, but banish them when they leave the field. So make sure the amount of cards you activate is going to be the amount of cards you bring back from the graveyard, and then set them. Now, again, when you use those cards on the field that were set from multi-roll, they will get banished. So make sure you keep that in mind. Alright, so here we got 3 copies of Forbidden Chalice. If you don't have Imperms, if you don't have Triple Tactics Talents, if you don't have Forbidden Droplets, all these very, very good monster interruption or negates, you can use Forbidden Chalice. It's a rare, so it's really cheap to craft if you don't just naturally pull it. A lot of time you just naturally pull it. But anyway, what it does is you target one face-up monster on the field until the end of this turn. It gains 400 attack, but the effects are negated. So very, very good. Here I have 2 copies of Twin Twisters. It's a very good spell card to be able to fill up the graveyard, but also be able to get rid of back row that's problematic, such as Eldritch. Now, 1 copy of Skystriker Mecha Hornet Drones. This is a very good card because it's able to freely special summon a token to the field. So that's the whole gist of it. Then we got 2 copies of Skystriker Mecha Widow Anchor. Pretty much tied with Engage of being the best card in the deck. So what it does is, if you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you can target one face-up effect monster on the field, negate that face-up monster's effect until the end of the turn. But if you have 3 or more spells in the graveyard, you can take control of that monster to the end of the phase. So very good to be able to steal a card, and then you can link it off or do whatever you want with it. Then I got 2 copies of Skystriker Mecha Shark Cannon. Now, this card, it says, if you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard and banish that monster. Or if you have 3 or more spells in the graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your field instead. So it's pretty much banishes whatever you want, but then also can monster reborn the card as well. So very, very powerful. And it's a normal, so it's, again, super cheap. Then I have 3 copies of Torrential Tribute, a way just to wipe out the board. Very, very nice. And then 1 copy of Solemn Judgment. Very good card. You half your life points. You can stop a summon or a spell a trap from being activated, and then it gets destroyed. So very good. Now we're gonna move on to the extra deck. Okay, now the extra deck is gonna be one copy of Skystriker Ace Kagari. It's a very good card. Now what it does is, if this card is special summoned, you can target one Skystriker spell in the graveyard, add it to the hand. This card gains 100 attack for each spell in your graveyard. Very good card to be able to recur your spell cards back to the hand. Now, 3 copies of Shizuku. Now, the Shizuku is super rare, so it's definitely cheap, pretty easy to craft, so you should be able to get 2 to 3 copies. Now, what this card does is, once per turn during the end phase, if this card was special summoned this turn, you can add a Skystriker spell from your deck to your hand with a different name from the cards in the graveyard. So it's a very good way to pretty much grab whatever you need that you don't already have or already used. Now, 3 copies of Skystriker Ace Hayate. This is a rare, so it's very cheap. Now, this says this card can attack directly, so it's very good. And then also, after damage calculation, if this card battled, you can send a Skystriker card from your deck to the graveyard. So you can send whatever you want, then you could use Kagari to be able to grab that card back to the hand. So very nice. Then 2 copies of Skystriker Ace Kiana. Now, this card says, if this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Now, each time you activate a Skystriker spell card or effect, it gains 100 life points immediately after it resolves. So very nice. Now here we're running 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix. It's a SR, so it's easy to craft. Again, generic back row removal when you discard a card. So very nice. Then I have 3 copies of Skystriker Ace Zeke. A lot of people run 1, but you can run 2 or 3. Right now I'm running 3. Now, this says 2 monsters, including a Skystriker Ace monster, must be link summoned. Now, this says if this card is link summoned, you can target one face-up monster on the field and banish it until your opponent's next end phase. So a very good way to out certain cards that may be too big at the moment, and then you can swing for damage. So very nice. Then it also says once per turn, you can target one other card you control. This card gains 1,000 attack. Then send the targeted card to the graveyard. So a nice way to be able to out cards, and then this card gains attack. So very nice. And then here I got 1 copy of Berserker of the Tenny. Very random, but what I did like about it is it takes 2 monsters, including a link monster. So it's only a link 3, right? It's a way to be able to climb up to the next card, Appaloosa. But this card has 3,000 attack, and it's only a normal. So that's the reason I'm running it. You could craft Celine if you decided to do that, but for me, it didn't really seem advantageous for me at the moment. So for right now, to kind of mitigate that, I decided to grab Berserker of the Tenny. It's a 3,000 monster. It's generic, and it's a normal card, so it's really cheap. So this is just an option if you decide to go that route. If not, it's all good. And then 1 copy of Appaloosa Bow the Goddess. You can only control 1, which is nice. And then the original attack of this card becomes 800 times the number of link material used for the link summon. And then once per chain, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can make this card lose 800 exact attack. And if you do, negate the activation. Unfortunately, it doesn't destroy, but it just negates, but that's okay too. So there you have it. This is my budget version of Skystrikers. Over time, I'm going to be able to make it a better and stronger deck. But for right now, this is all free. I spent $0 on this account and on this build. So you guys can definitely have fun playing Skystrikers, going from rookie to platinum. Alright. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'm on the road to 100 subs on YouTube. And then make sure you guys follow me on Twitch, so that way you can catch live streams that I do. And then also make sure, again, you follow the Twitter and join the Patreon if you deem my content to be worthy. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate every single sub and every single watcher on my Twitch. So again, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, comment down below whether you like the deck, whether you use it. If you think it's trash, it is what it is. Yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much. See you later.